Our next guest is Chandra Hardeen from United Way Niagara, and we're here to talk today about healthy people and stronger communities. This is an initiative that you're currently funding for some Niagara opportunities.
That's absolutely right. Healthy People, Strong Communities is actually one of our 3 funding priorities, and we are just entering into a funding cycle now with that priority. And what that really means and why we chose that one to go out with is that as you and everybody else knows, we are in a post-pandemic era. And while we all had to pivot at the very beginning, and it was sort of a short, sharp shock, this pivot that needs to take place now isn't quite as obvious. But because of the implications and the struggles that have been created through the pandemic, in part by the prolonged isolation that people felt in so many different ways, it is still quite prevalent, and it is contributing quite greatly to the struggles that people are going through, how people are doing. And what we focus on largely is this notion of social capital. Social capital, there's a nice fancy definition for it. What I like to think is it's the opposite of social isolation.
Right.
So what we want to do is help people, all people, who have different struggles and different challenges, help them to feel more connected. So that could be connected to other people, connected to a community, or connected to services that they need, or a body of services that they need. And that gives people a sense of belonging. It gives them a sense of self and worth and value. And it helps with their wellness. And when people have better mental wellness and a sense of belonging and happiness, and I think we underestimate the value of happiness, then they are able to cope, and it gives them resilience. And the struggles that they have may remain, but they may have better resources, both internally and externally, to deal with those resources. So what we're doing with this funding is supporting programs that support that notion of social capital. How do we bring people together, help them get that sense of belonging, that sense of purpose, and in doing so, we can also perhaps help things like food security and other issues in tandem with that. So it's very much a social safety net approach.
Chandra, why is it on a 3-year cycle? Why was that chosen?
We have always, or for many years, funded on that cycle. 3 years helps for agencies to have some stability.
Right.
And if we go year to year and they don't know, they can't really plan and hire and really delve into it. And what we need more than anything, well, not really, but along with resources, what we need is stability in the sector so that programs can remain and they can build on themselves and collaborate with others. And with 3-year funding, it helps agencies to do that. And in a lot of cases with United Way funding, that 3-year funding ends up building into another 3-year funding.
Well, it makes perfect sense too, because often with programs, it takes a few months to get going, and you really you hit that peak maybe 9 months into it.
That's right.
You don't want to shut that down.
That's absolutely right.
Or force them to reapply.
Exactly. And it also allows for the evolution of a program because nothing's ever static. Needs change, strengths and challenges change, so they have to evolve and they have to be able to adapt to the need. And that stable funding allows them to do that. And we try as much as possible to work with them to ensure that whatever funding they're getting, they're using it in the way that they need to help the most people in the best possible way.
You're also looking to have connections between agencies for some of these programs, and that's something that we haven't seen really on the forefront of United Way's calls for applications in the past, have we?
Correct. I don't believe that has happened in the last several years, but you know, agencies do collaborate quite a great deal. They have to. What we are doing is asking for a collaborative effort to look at a particular neighborhood to be prescribed by the agency, not by us, and to build a neighborhood program that really focuses on this notion of building social capital within that neighborhood with a view to bring the people of that neighborhood up and out of whatever challenging circumstances they may be in, which is likely poverty, mental health issues, perhaps addictions, definitely food insecurity, that kind of thing, housing. So we are asking agencies to do that, and it's quite an exciting time, and I've been talking to a lot of agencies. There's a lot of interest, and I do believe we're going to see some really interesting social evolution come out of this, and we're working really hard to make sure we do the best we possibly can with it.
Do you foresee some new agencies to the United Way?
Possibly,
applying
yes,
here?
absolutely, yes.
And when is the timeline? When will this start to be implemented?
We have a letter of intent currently available on our website. It is due on January 23rd, and that can be accessed through our website, and you have the address.
Chandra, keep us updated as these applications start moving forward and get implemented. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.